Rick, how are you?
I'm doing great, Keith. How are you, my man?
I'm so good. I'm so good. Thank you for making the drive up. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. I'm always glad to come up and see you. I mean, I love being with you, and this is a really important time for me.
Oh, good, good. Thank you. It's something that I look forward to. Every time you tell me what your availability is, I get excited.
You know, it's really great to have a guy like that. And you guys have all experienced this too. To have someone who really cares about what you're doing and what you mean to his life, it's no joke. It's a big deal.
Well, Rick, you're definitely that for me, and I love you, man. Thank you for being in my life.
I love you too, buddy.
Great. So today's show topic is going to be...
Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Are we going to do the one on spongiform encephalitis?
No, I thought we'd wait till summer for that one.
Summer, good. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good. That's
Okay, I know you're disappointed.
I had read up on it and I was ready to go. But
All right, well,
put that one off.
keep those notes.
Okay.
Okay. So today's the show topic is going to be the time and place for thinking is not where you think it is.
Wow, that's a great topic. That's a great title for a topic as well.
I know it sounds like a riddle, but we're about to unpack it for you. So should I kick it off or will you?
Yeah, well, let me start with asking you a question. Since we're all so driven by things that we need to do and things that we need to do are controlled by our minds, when would it not be a good idea to not use your mind as a resource to solve problems?
I would say probably like 99% of the time.
Oh man, it's gonna be a long show.
It's gonna be a long show because the science is in. Like most of the thinking that we do is ineffective, inefficient, and unproductive. Like most of it, it's all different scenarios, caught up in worrying, obsessive thinking, anxiousness, creating stories, creating our own reality. Most of which is fictional. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, it's really quite useless. However, there are times to your question, to answer your question, when thinking is useful. So for example, you're planning a flight to go see family. Okay, thinking comes into play when you choose your date, you choose the airline that you like to purchase the ticket on, you book those things and you set it. That's done. That whole process probably takes, I don't know, a couple minutes. Let's say there's other people you got to consult. Maybe it's a few minutes every day until everyone gets back to you with their schedule. After that, it's done. But that's not what we do. What we do is we're worried about, is there going to be a layover? What if the plane doesn't make it? What if my luggage gets lost? If people don't pick me up on time? What the weather's going to be like when I get there? Like, it doesn't stop the whole time, that we're in the planning process of it. But really, it only takes a few minutes to get it done, but we've lost days, weeks, and in some cases, months of useless thinking.
Well, and that also extends over to even after you think you've solved the problem. For example, in your case, you were saying that you book an airline flight, let's say. Well, let's suppose that you start thinking, well, wait, that may not coincide with some other dates where my friends are coming and I'd like to see them. So you might spend a lot of time after you've already made your plans thinking about it and ruminating about it and staying up at night thinking about what you should do, when really it's a simple thing to change.
Right.
And then just simply let it go.
Exactly. And the letting go part is really hard for the human mind.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me throw in something that I think might be a little bit under the radar that people don't realize. Part of why the mind is so successful is that it actually is a marvelous tool for figuring out what danger exists, spotting danger, being proactive about controlling danger, and then making sure that the danger is completely gone. For example, let's suppose prehistorically, if we're dealing with something very simple like trying to survive in a terrible climate, let's say we're in a freezing Alaska climate, and we start to get overexposed in the weather, and our mind tells us, let's build a fire, let's go inside and make whatever arrangements we can make to get warm. Well, that's the mind showing you a way to solve that problem and make it go away. Here's the problem though. The mind is not very good at curing things that beset us as modern people, such as anxiety, sadness, worry, confusion about what people meant, if they like us, if they don't like us, if my family's okay, things like that. Those things, sadness, for example, are very, very difficult to cure by the mind. And the only way the mind can cure it, the only thing it's really good at, is making the external danger disappear. Like in the case when we're talking about building a fire. Well, the mind has given you an avenue to clear the fire. But the mind can't cure the sadness, so all it can do is try to get rid of it. Okay, now here's what the trick is. When the mind tries to get rid of sadness or anxiety, what it does is it tells you, do anything to feel better. Avoid displeasure.
Preach.
Avoid whatever feels painful. And when you start doing that, you self-medicate with alcohol. You start maybe, whatever your thing is, you may become overactive with sex. You may do complete avoidance behavior. You may become very angry, acting out. All of those things.
Prescription drugs,
That's it.
illicit drugs, you name it.
That's right. And so the point is, you can always count on your mind to try to eliminate whatever the danger it perceives. And sometimes when that occurs, well, all the time when that occurs, you're really ending up trying to remove that sadness by doing something that's likely to be harmful.
Right. So to that end, what would be the most effective thing to do? Since you know the mind has this flaw, this defect. I mean, again, I acknowledge it's amazing for adaptation. I mean, a lot of the advances that we've had in medicine, in technology, the mind has produced that. Okay, but with that has come with all those other things that you say that it's pretty horrible at resolving. So what's the solution?
Well, I think the first thing is to be aware of it and to think,
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about sadness, and I realize I can't solve sadness by thinking. I can't solve sadness by thinking. And then you have to look at what other, whatever remedies there might be for curing something like sadness. We're assuming now that you've already done all the things that you can in the real world, like in your case, if you look, in your case, I think you said earlier, if somebody loses a job, for example, you send out resumes and you do
Right.
things that are appropriate to try to get a new job, and you try to maybe do part-time work here or there. Those are all mind-related things. But then you don't go further and start being sad about it, where you're constantly thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. You detach. You're aware of it, and you're also aware at the same time that that sadness is something that your mind is going to try to teach you to avoid by medicating or by doing something that's destructive. So you first monitor that, be aware of it, and then say to yourself, look, my mind is great at problem solving, but sadness isn't a problem that I can solve with my mind.
Right.
It's solvable with my heart and meditation, monitoring it, and detaching from the outcome.
You know, the example that we talked about off camera with a person who's in their job is something that I experienced that was somewhat similar in that, you know, I didn't lose, but some clients chose to go into a different direction. And so the revenue from them being clients was no longer there. And my mind wanted to go into all this obsessive thinking, blame shifting on them, on me for not doing enough, all of which is not helpful. But I had already started this mindset training, this practice, which is the first step, as you said, is being aware of the stories and the fiction that your mind is telling you. If it's telling you the truth, then you'll be able to objectively see that it's the truth. You know what? I'm not doing a lot in terms of marketing. I need to step up my game. And in that case, you take action, and then you stop being upset about it, worrying about it, or beating yourself up over it. In my case, what I had to do was practice the awareness to let my mind know that, hey, I'm feeling down right now. Okay, why am I feeling down? Like understanding there's a separate part of me that was observing me feeling down. And so the separate self, which my ego is, the conscious part of me was observing that part of me that was feeling down or telling me to feel down. Once I identified that, I became empowered. I really did. And so what I did was I said, okay, you can't listen to what that voice is saying. What you need to do is create an objective checklist or task that you're going to do every day, that when that voice starts to raise his hand and say, listen to me, take me seriously, I'm talking to you, when that starts to come up, it's going to be so important for you to be able to go back to that checklist and say, I did what I said I was going to do today. So for example, I made it a point when clients left that I was going to put in 3 to 4 hours every morning after my morning workout. And the reason I work out in the morning again is because it helps me change my way of thinking. The exercise has been proven to create neural pathways in the brain that are responsible for new thoughts, positive thinking, so being solution oriented instead of being down and depressed and cynical. And so I need that exercise to unlock that part of my brain for me. Once I finish my exercise, once I finish that, the next step is to go through my checklist of 3 to 4 hours of working on my craft, or marketing in this case, so that I can say, you know what, I put in the work today. And then I don't feel guilty the rest of the day. I don't feel depressed anytime that voice again raises his hand and says, listen to me. And so that's what I found to be very effective for me.
I would add one other step, and that's because we all have monkey minds, and it's very difficult to just make the decision to put it out of your mind,
right,
and then keep it out of your mind. One of the ways that helps me, and I've always preached this on these podcasts, but it's very true, is detaching through meditation. And you simply go inside and try to still the mind, and when thoughts come up, you just don't try to fight them, just let the thought come up, and then say to yourself, next thought, next, until you finally exhaust your inventory of thoughts and you start repeating the same thoughts, and you'll sort of notice that there's a pattern that is really boring and ineffective, and I think that helps you detach. So if we were to meditate, the idea is to simply slow down the processes of being self-analytical or analytical about our reality, and let all of the analysis, all of the right brain thinking, all of the logic, all of the emotion about it go, all of it go. And so you're just being, you're literally just raw yourself with nothing happening. If you focus on your breath, in and out, and that's all you focus on, pretty soon you'll develop an active way of letting go, detaching. There'll be a cue once you start doing meditation. Your body will be cued. Oh, this is the time when we're going to relax and just be. And if you could do that once a day, great. If you could do it twice, even better. 3 times, even better. You don't have to do it for half an hour. You don't have to sit cross-legged in a corner. You can actually sit in a chair like we're sitting right now and just focus on breath, close your eyes, be quiet, let the rest of the world spin while you're just being.
Absolutely. What are some examples, or even one example, in which your mind wanted to take you there? I just gave one with me. What's an example where your mind wanted to just run off, beyond the facts, create a story, and it was definitely not the place or time to be caught up in thinking?
Oh, sure. I think we can. Let's see. The most recent one yesterday. I found out that a close friend of mine in Sedona is having a big party. I wasn't invited. And so I started running through all the reasons I wasn't invited. I didn't compliment him on his last meal. When he came over, I didn't listen to him as much as I could have because I was tending to other guests. He thinks that I'm too liberal, conservative, weird. He doesn't like my goatee. He's a fool for not liking me. That jerk, I'll never pay. And it got to the point where I hated the guy after about an hour.
and it was all
this morning,
all self-inflicted.
All self-inflicted. Now here's the cool thing. On the way down this morning, I get an email and he says, "Hey, I thought Alexis invited you. I'm sorry. We're having a party on Friday."
It's one of those you go, oops.
Yeah, oops, that's right. Yeah. I really do like you. Thanks. Thanks. I don't know what happened. I just got mixed up. But it's goofy. We do that all the time.
So how long did all that go on?
Well, 24 hours. About this time yesterday. They found out the party is next Friday. And I thought, well, if he doesn't invite me by, today, it's out,
You drew a line in the sand?
Oh, man, that's it.
That's right.
Don't talk to me, brother, I'm done. Yeah.
That's right. It's amazing,
Goofy.
but that happens all the time. But I think the thing that's important is that, not to idolize or to make anyone that you listen to that for you think is enlightened or is a great teacher, that they're perfect, because we're not. We're all flawed with this mental
Oh, totally,
defect.
totally.
And so what's great, I think, about our show is we're both vulnerable, and we've shared a ton of these missteps, miscues, and downright mistakes.
And you never lick it. I don't think you ever lick it.
don't.
I think it's part of the human condition that you have to be mindful of and fight every day.
Exactly.
It's like overeating or not exercising. You've got to deal with those issues every day because they're going to come up.
Exactly. And if you don't deal with them and you allow yourself to remain unaware or ignore the opportunity to practice awareness, what you run the risk of is a ton more suffering for those escapes with pleasure, whether it's food, alcohol, prescription drugs, sex, whatever the case may be, that we go and seek pleasure to avoid dealing with what's right there. And another addiction is obsessive thinking and worrying about it. If any of that happens, then you are not doing yourself a service. And so you just want to put in the work. And the more you put in the work, it actually does become habit forming.
Yeah,
It really does. Right. I mean, like, our rituals every day that we practice are there for a reason. It's because we don't want to suffer. I mean, we're tired. Right. We're tired of suffering, and we want to experience peace. And these practices are a necessary action to take every single day so that we experience joy, peace, compassion, gratitude. So important for us.
And it's important too when you catch yourself doing something that's dysfunctional, like I just described with the party, is to have a laugh and not get down on yourself about it. I mean, you have a couple of ways to go. The more telling and the more interesting result would have been, what happens if he wouldn't have called?
Right.
So I still have all of those thoughts churning. At some point, I'm just going to have to let that go.
Absolutely.
And just say, it really doesn't matter. Do I like me? Am I okay with myself? Am I doing what I want to do in my life? And if not, change it. And if you are, then it truly doesn't matter what another person thinks or whether they invite you to their party or not. But it is funny to note that you've got this goofy human condition that you want to be invited
right.
all the time and be the hit of the party.
Exactly.
Which is all nonsense.
And I think our practice is that if that does turn out to be what would have happened in this case, is to still hold loving, still extend and express loving kindness and hold space for the other person. You don't know why you weren't invited. Even if they told you why, it's really unimportant. You just want to hold the space for them that's a space of loving kindness no matter how other people show up. Be the orange. And again, I've talked about Wayne Dyer talking about the orange. And he asked his child, like, hey, listen, if you squeeze an orange, if you squeeze an apple, what comes out of it? Apple juice. If you squeeze, grapes, what comes out of it? Grape juice. If you squeeze an orange, what comes out of it? Orange juice. Can you get pineapple juice out of an orange? No, you can only get orange juice out of it. So if someone squeezes you, Rick, squeezes me, the only thing I want coming out of me is loving kindness. Now, easier said than done, and that's why we do the daily practices. Before we close the show, just want to kind of add one thing and then have you close this out. And what that is the cost of applying thinking or being caught up in thinking when it's neither the time or the place. We've already identified what the time and place is when you can take action on it, period. Planning for a trip, make the plans, you're done. Writing a business plan, do the writing, don't worry about it after you've set aside the time to actually do it. The cost of it is when you are with a loved one and what they're up to, let's say it's a child's recital, it's a friend's wedding, you're on a vacation or adventure, but you can't fully be there because you have this voice in your head that's caught up thinking about how I look, do people like me, not like me, what am I going to do about my job, I'm not happy here, or whatever the trillion things that the mind can obsess about are going on. When that's happening, that's not the time or place, and the cost of it is that you're not present for the things in life that really matter. And there's only one thing that matters in life, this moment. That's it.
Yeah, that's the living unit of your life, period. And the past is gone, you can't change it. It's the same result and always will be the same result as whatever has happened, and you can't go back and fiddle with it. And the future is not promised to anybody, it's a dream. I think one other thing that's important to get in this too, and that is that detachment from outcome is important. And mindfulness involves not only the detachment from outcome, but also the detachment from judgment. If you can just get to the point where you're looking at circumstances that happen in your life, whether it's a financial issue you're struggling with, or it's a love issue with raising a child, and you feel as a parent that your child doesn't appreciate your love and is rejecting you and not following your orders, those things all have to be looked at. Every important issue in life, I think, has to be looked at with the idea that you are not judging it. You may not like it, you may think that things improve, and that's the time when you use your mind to create a plan to improve, but you don't judge it. If you're judging things, that opens you up for all kinds of suffering, and we're anti-suffering.
Believe that.
Inner calm and inner peace is the thing.
Absolutely. Rick, thank you for a great show.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
I love you.
Can we do a spongiform encephalitis soon? Because I got all this stuff in my head I need to share.
July.
Hey,
Thanks,
thanks,
folks.
guys.